guys, Lindsay here over at the North American Guitar, seated today with the wonderful luthier and player Ryan Gerber, who just drove all the way down from Ohio to hand deliver a freshly completed guitar for one of our Bespoke customers. Ryan, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you, and so I'm just going to jump right in with the big questions. Tell us all about your journey into guitar building.
My journey into guitar building. Well, it kind of started here in Nashville. So back in 2010, 2011, when I had finished my second guitar, and I was super proud of it. After I'd finished it, I had told my wife, at that time I had thought, obviously I loved doing it, the little bit that I knew at that stage. We had just been married, and at that stage in our life, we're both trying to figure out vocationally, like, what are we gonna do? I really struggled with that, even after college, and decided that, I want to try and do this, and she was really supportive. And so I told her one of my goals for this year is I want to meet Phil Kagi, one of my guitar playing heroes. And of course she just kind of laughed it off and said, yeah, how are you gonna do that, But 2 weeks later I was at his house here in Nashville. And so that trip here, it was great to spend some time with him. He was so nice and gracious. Played the guitar, I got to record a couple songs with him in his studio, which was I blew my mind at that time. I just couldn't believe that happened. So that was here, and from there I just got super excited, and from then on just did whatever I could to take steps and follow doors when they opened up, and it's certainly been a journey since then. It took a number of years before I was able to step out on my own and take that risk. But yeah, it's been great.
So what did you study in college? Did it lead into Luthiery at all, or
no,
totally unrelated?
Not at all. No, I studied business.
Okay.
Yeah, just because I didn't know really what I wanted to do, and that was what my advisor said. Hey, business is useful in many different ways. So, but I never really had a strong interest in anything I was studying at that point.
So how did you end up? Did you study with anybody or like apprentice, or did you just start?
No, it just started off as a hobby. It was just started off as a hobby. I started off with the book by William Cumpiano, which is a great book for anybody who wants to get started. And I was just in the basement of our house. I had a plastic folding table set up, and I bought a few clamps and chisels and a few hand tools. And my grandpa lived just down the street, and he had a woodworking shop, so I had access to that as well. But I spent a good year in the mornings, really early before work, just trying to learn how to make this first object that looked something like a guitar, and finished that and strung it up, and I was so stoked about it, and I couldn't believe that this thing actually sounds pretty good. And the second one was a lot better, and that's the one that I brought here. I say self-taught, but you can learn so much these days if you have an investigative mind and curious, and look for information and ask questions. So no formal apprenticeship or school, but certainly have picked up a lot of things from people along the way.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. What was that first guitar that you made?
I just copied like a D18 outline.
Yeah, do you still have it?
Yeah,
nice.
Sure, yeah, that's one that I'll always keep.
Yeah. Do you still have the second one?
I do, and that's the one that actually I play in my spare time now. My dad, being the super proud dad that he was, really wanted me to build a second guitar, so he paid me a small amount of money to build that second one. And he had it for many years, for the past 7 or 8 years, and then finally I just told him, Dad, this is just sitting in the case, I need it. I need a better guitar to play than my first one, so I've had it for the past couple of years.
Nice. What are the tone woods on that one?
It's a cedar and wenge.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you are such a great player, and I'm guessing you probably decided to start building because of the interest in playing guitars.
Certainly.
How do you find that the style that you play in influences the way you build?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I've never really been a flat picker, so I think I learned Wild Blue Flower. That's the best flat picking song that I know. but for whatever reason, just gravitated towards fingerstyle and using, all of the fingers. So it definitely steered me in that direction of the type of guitar I want to make, being, a very responsive guitar with that just, sings the melody really well.
So you use a lot of alternate tunings in your own playing. So do you sort of keep that in mind when you're building guitars to make them work better for that than some guitars might?
It must be, because my guitar is certainly never in standard at home. And it seems like when I come into a shop like this or other shops that I'll visit, most guitars that I pick off the wall are in Dadgad or drop C or drop D or something.
Yeah, somebody came by and...
So it is so, just commonplace for me. Do I necessarily voice the guitar or design the guitar with that in mind? Not necessarily, other than if I know it's going to be in a certain tuning most of its time, I'll certainly take that into account and make sure that the intonation is as good as it can be for that, certain kind of range of tuning.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, just to kind of stay with music for a little while longer, you mentioned Phil Keaggy. Who are some of your other influences, and stylistically, where else have you sort of branched out into? I feel like I've noticed some like Celtic influence with your playing, but maybe that's just sort of tangential.
Think if you play in drop tunings, it's hard not to
sounds,
fall into that, Yeah, on my playlist, if I'm going to listen to music while I'm working, Clive Carroll is somebody who I really like. Will McNichol. I think I really admire his composing, his touch and technique, and just the tone that he gets from Tom's guitars is just really, really good.
Yeah.
I love the redwood top guitar that he plays. Who else? Yeah, Pierre Ben-Susan. Matt Thomas and Dustin Furlow are two guys who I've gotten to know over the last year and really admire their playing, and they've been just great to get to know and become friends with.
Yeah.
And
have you recorded much other than just doing demos of your guitars on YouTube?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad. You should.
I definitely made it a goal of mine to do more recording, to demo the guitars that I make. 10 years ago, well, before marriage and having kids and family life and just getting, trying to make the guitar thing work, I played quite a bit more and always loved recording. I think if I wouldn't have found guitar making, I had dreams of going to engineering school or, music production engineering school and trying to do that because I love being in a studio and just recording and playing with sounds.
So who are some of your biggest influences among other guitar makers?
Yeah, guitar makers who I admire. Burton Leggett was maybe the first who I saw his work, I saw his guitars, and found some really interesting things that he was doing that I thought made a lot of sense. His neck block design was one of those things that I have been using for the past, 6 or 7 years that I think is really smart. Just having a much wider neck block, extensions on the wings of the neck block to spread better support in the upper bout around the sides to help prevent twisting in that area. I think the neck block area in general is really important, obviously. So yeah, just giving it a little extra support there and having a bottom foot on the block as well, I think is really smart. Some of the modern builders who I would say fall into the like I would say really classy and more like simple designs, who try and just keep it really clean. Dion James and Joel Michaud. You know, I see Joel trying, you know, different things with finish options, color. You see, you know, green tops and black tops, and certainly Irvin Samaji starting out. I remember going into a shop for the first time where he had a guitar, and I had a few of my guitars that I was trying to sell, and I picked up his guitar, the modified Dreadnought, and played it, and it just, you know, changed my whole perspective on what was possible with the guitar. Really haunted me for a long time. So as I'm sure most, or a lot of builders who have played his guitars maybe could relate with that. But
was that your first experience with his guitars, or like one-on-one, or in person?
And that's the only one that I've played. Michael Bashkin is another name that comes to mind with his designs. I love his artistic detail.
Yeah, he's got such a great style.
Yeah, and it's very cohesive and interesting and delicate, tasteful, but just like spot on. I don't think he should do anything different.
Yeah,
it's just great.
It's perfect.
Yeah. Lars Rasmussen is another one. Again, like just super clean, elegant guitars. My first 2 or 3 years, 4 years, I kind of thought anything was possible with design or inlay, and I really probably tried too hard, you know. And then at some point I realized that, you know, maybe I need to pull back a little bit, give myself some more boundaries, and try and just simplify with the hopes that, you know, I'm building a guitar that will still like look nice in 20 years or 30 years or whatever, and age a little bit better maybe. So
yeah, sometimes there's freedom in limitation, so
yeah,
that'd be good. Do you have influences outside of music or guitar making that you sort of draw on in your builds?
Working in the garden, growing food is certainly a big part of our life, our family's life. That it points towards the simple, you know, like the theme of simplicity. You know, what else? Yeah, just being outside and being off the screens is always good. Yeah. So I think I would hope that would kind of spill over into the guitars I make. Yeah,
I feel like you can kind of see it's not like an obviously like, oh, it's an inlay of a leaf, but there is kind of a natural flow and sort of structure to your designs that I can see that. So you currently offer 3 models, your RL15.5, the RL16, and the RL14.5, which is the most recent one, right?
Yes. Yep.
And you used to do the 15, but why did you decide to move away from that and kind of split 14.5 and 15.5?
The 15 was my first original model that I made. And I started with the Olsen SJ in mind, kind of that size of an OM size. And made that for, you know, a few years. And then I felt like personally, I wanted something just a little bit bigger than that OM shape. And in my mind, it became, I started to think more that just something a little bit larger would be the ideal fingerstyle instrument, you know, performance guitar. And so, so I took that 15 shape and I just blew it up just a tiny bit to bring it to 15.5 across the lower bout. Kept the same outline, the same profile. What I thought would be nice, other people agreed with, because then I really didn't get many orders for 15 after that. Like a year out, it just kind of really tapered off to where I wasn't building any 15s. So that went on for a few years, and I just realized, well, there's too much overlap between the 15.5 and the 15. I needed something to fill out more in the smaller, you know, like a 00 sized guitar. So that's what I set out to do, and that was where the 14.5 came from, just to create a little more space between small, medium, and large. Basically, that's how it is. Yeah,
no, that makes sense. So you just brought us this this brand new guitar built for one of our Bespoke customers. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
This set came from a board that I bought a few years ago, and I got 8 sets out of that board. It was just like, I think probably a once in a lifetime find, being perfectly quarter sawn, 10 inches wide, plenty long, and I actually got 2 boards that looked very similar. The 3 or 4 guitars that I've made so far with those sets have just been really, really good. I would say benchmark guitars for me, each one along the way. So I've been really happy with them.
So you are currently building a whole bunch of guitars for some of our Bespoke customers. So for you as a builder, what would you say to people who are considering that in terms of like, what are they going to get out of the experience of working with you directly to have a guitar made versus just buying a guitar in a shop without having that kind of input? Yeah,
well, I think the most important thing to say is just as much communication as you want or need in the process. Yeah. So, and it's something that I enjoy, getting to know these customers that I get the opportunity to build for. With all of the options, what's your thing? What do you want? What will make that guitar be the guitar that you want to pick up when you go to your, if you have multiple guitars, go to your rack of guitars, what will make you want to pick it up and play it? So whether it's tone wood or, the body shape or setup, neck specs, whatever, I'm determined each time to make that guitar the one that you want to pick up and play. So, is there one particular tone wood that you would encourage players to consider more than they maybe currently do? I would say there's a lot of options. I could give you a handful of options if you want a rosewood-like sound, a really dense hardwood, medium density sets like walnut or maple. There's a lot to choose from. And I have a habit of kind of hoarding like obscure tone woods that I find that I think, oh, that would be really great to try that someday. Whether it feels right or it has the right weight or density or just, tap tone, that it just would work, In that tone wood conversation, I'll generally say something to the effect of, I can point me in a certain direction and we have plenty of options. It doesn't have to be Cocobolo. Yeah. It doesn't have to be walnut or mahogany. There's other, if you're interested in trying something new and different, we can certainly do that. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for coming all the way down to Nashville to hang out with us today and to deliver Hans's guitar. I'm sure he's going to be really excited, and we'll still have Carl demo it, but we're definitely really excited to feature your playing as well. Do you have any other things that you want to share? Are you going to any of the showcases this year or any big projects that you want to put the word out about? Yeah, well, first, thanks for having me. This is like a total honor to come and spend time with you and see the shop and meet some other people who are here who I've talked to on the phone but haven't seen, met in person, so that's been great. Yeah, shows, I'm going to be at Woodstock in October and the Fretboard Summit in August, which I'm looking forward to. I think that might be a little bit different from the shows that I've done in the past. I think they're going to have a lot of fun things to offer. So I'll be at those 2 shows, and beyond that, I don't know. Awesome. Well, I think we do have 2 more Bespoke slots available with you for next year. So if folks want to grab one of those, they certainly can. Otherwise, we might just have to wait for the next time you have the free time to build us a shop guitar, which might be a while. But we'll see, yeah. Thank you again. And if people want to check out your work, it's at gerberguitars.com. Gerberguitars.com, yes. All right. Thanks, Ryan. All right. Thank you.